Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
It's the first time I think we've been together since like the middle of January.
It's been a little bit.
Has it really been that long? Wow.
Well, I don't know. It's been a couple. It's been like two. At least it's been 2 weeks. So I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, okay, I'm like, really? Am I?
Okay, maybe not that long. Oh,
It was me and Megan. Yeah, and then I think we were together the week before. So
anyway, it's been at least 2 weeks, which feels
forever.
Like, it does, because every month in 2025 is 10 years long. So
ain't that
tell
the
me
truth?
about it. Yeah.
So speaking of that, this weekend, so we did have a birthday in our family, which is my husband turned 50 years old. Very esteemed of him to do so. So, and I told you, okay, well, I haven't told the listeners. I don't know if I told you all too. So you heard about my husband, my husband really likes to be celebrated. He is a princess.
Right. Okay.
The biggest princess. He's a passenger princess. Like, he is a princess.
Uh-huh.
And he really likes to be celebrated. And I was kind of like, okay, well, what am I going to do for the 50th? And here's the thing. This man went to Tahiti for 12 to 14 days on like a 5-star trip that his work paid for. And I was like, I mean, I think that's good. I think we're done. But like, honestly, I knew the way that princesses work are like, well, I got that for work, but that's not like me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pay for, like, because there's people that like, there's this trend now of like, when it's your birthday, you do these like big trips, these big blowout trips too. And I was like, that's not really in the cards for us right now. If anyone's going on a blowout trip, it's me in June when I fly my own ass to South Korea. So like, we don't have big blowout trip money either. So I was like, I need to come up with something that's going to feel supported and loved and yet isn't going to cost like, stupid money. Mm-hmm. So I came up with this idea of a birthday box, and we went to like Michael's craft store and bought a box, and the girls decorated it.
Aww.
And every day from when he came home from his trip to his birthday, we put a little treat in it. And so I just went to like Trader Joe's and would buy like chocolate covered almonds, or we got like a pair of socks, or my one kid bought like a vulture plastic toy. Like, it was always silly.
Yeah.
The delight he had every morning of opening up his birthday box. It was like an advent calendar or something. He was just like, what's in my birthday box today? Oh my God, it's a can of white wine.
Oh my God, I would love that as
That's super cute.
Look,
I'm
a
a
Pisces,
princess.
Megan, and you're a Pisces princess, right, like Nick.
I'm absolutely a Pisces princess. Like, I think I actually have a lot in common with Nick.
You do.
And I would absolutely.
Yes. So this really filled his bucket.
Right.
Then we had 2 more steps to the process. We're almost there. We're 2/3 of the way there. This weekend, I'm throwing him a birthday party, not a surprise birthday party, because I did not want the labor of a surprise.
Right.
And I just was like, honestly, it's too complicated. Like, I don't want to be like cleaning my house for a surprise. So we're having a small birthday party that I'm getting like catered even. Like, look, I went for it. So he's having a birthday party this weekend. And I booked us on a getaway last weekend, like a close by staycation. And so that's what I want to talk about. So we went on the staycation. It's only like an hour away, but I happen to live in a really beautiful area. I am lucky. And the further, like, you go south an hour and you're pretty much on the doorstep to Big Sur, and you're in Carmel, which apparently Travis and Taylor had dinner there recently. When I was looking for places to like be going, somebody was like, Taylor and Travis were just there. I'm only telling it to Amy.
Thank you.
And I don't even know if you like Travis anymore, because like
I'm a little over him, but like, if she's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, we're go Eagles in this side of the house.
Yeah.
I've come on to Megan's team.
I rooted for the Eagles.
Best team.
But anyway, so we stayed in, and I didn't fully appreciate it. Like, I kind of just booked it and like moved on with my life. And I missed the fact that I booked a barn, which it was not a barn. Like, it wasn't like we were Jesus coming into the manger. Like, it was a refurbished barn that was like quite nice. But
there's something very unique about it.
It's one big room. So there's no bedrooms. It's beds around the side of the barn. And then in the middle was like foosball and pool. There was a piano. There was a weight area. There were like 3 TVs. I mean, it was a barn space. It had a lot of space. But you all sleep looking at each other. So first my teens were in like horror at this idea. Like when I unveiled what was happening, like this is the plan, they were like, no, wait, no. So that, because they were going to have to like not hibernate in the room, they were going to have to sit in the circle and look at us. But then I forgot another key point, which was until we pulled in, because like I'm always like, is this going to land? Did I do the right thing? Like, did I pick the right spot? I'm like, it is a barn. Like, I hope I think it's going to be fine, but whatever. So we pull in and I realized right when we pulled in, I'm getting a 10 out of 10. Like, I have just brought joy not only to Nick, but to my entire family. And it is because I had forgotten that outside this barn were 2 Scottish Highland cows.
Oh my God. Oh
That would
my
be-
God.
that's all I want.
I would have been there all day.
Yeah,
I would
and
have
these
been
cows
all-
were raised, I guess they got them at 4 weeks old, we found out.
Oh my God.
And their
they
names were Taylor and Bella.
Stop.
And
So were they both girls? They're both female.
I didn't crawl
guess.
under and check. I just know their names were Taylor and Bella.
Okay,
It was
one
very
thing-
hard to crawl under because these things have like legs that are like 6 inches tall and then they're just this giant body.
They are. I know. I'm sure they actually. I could tell because it's the way their horns are facing. So actually, if I saw the pictures,
Are you a cow connoisseur?
No, only Highland cows because I took the tour when I was in Scotland. So like the whole thing, if their horns essentially like point up, they're the female, but the bulls they kind of point like straight out.
Got you. Okay.
Or
So I
straight
believe
forward.
these are female. The one had, okay, well, we may have had an intersex because one's horn went up and one horn went down.
Oh, that's
They were a
smart.
little goofy.
Maybe. Okay.
And so all that happened, my family was just like, so I'm not a real touchy animal person. Everybody else was just like, cows. Nick found like a cow scratcher. They had like a cow scratcher on the fence. And so he would just sit there and like, let's go out and scratch the cows. And then the cows were like,
So are you there alone with the cows, or are there people on the property too, like who own it?
the owners of the house were like, there's a house on the property,
Okay,
but like
okay.
you never see them.
Gotcha.
Like they're just kind of like away in their house. But the fence was next to the barn next to us. So we were kind of like, we weren't alone with we couldn't have our way with them, but like, it was very intimate. It was a very
I don't
intimate.
want you to have your way with the cows. I just want to know if you could hang with them.
We could very hang with them. Like
Okay.
it was hanging was encouraged.
Okay.
That's so fun.
And so, yeah, I just want to share that like the cows really became a real moment in my family. Like it really brought my family together.
Yeah. Oh, and Nick
And-
loved the one room, I'm assuming. He thought it was great.
He loved the one room.
Oh, good.
My kids played pool. They'd never played pool before, which was
Aw,
interesting.
yeah.
And then, okay. And here's the last little segue for the funny story, and then I'll close out the trip. But you both know this, but the listeners do not. So my son had recently disclosed to me that he is in an after-school fight club. So when school gets out, he and his bros go to either the beach or the park. And he's like, we don't hit nuts. We don't pull hair. Anything else goes. And we fight to see who's the strongest. And I was like, I don't understand. This does not connect with anything I've raised you with. Nothing that I've raised you with would lead me to believe that you going to the public places to fight with your friends makes sense. And then he doubled down and said words that I'm just going to share it so that anyone else who's raising children and are like, what happened? Feel like I understand here. He's like, I'm a boy mom, and this is just what boys do sometimes. And I was like, this is not what you are saying to me. And
Yeah,
he
you're
wasn't being, disgusting, but
Yeah.
I was also like, wow,
You're like, boys will not be boys.
Yeah, I was just like, what? And so then he's just like, you're making this such a big deal. We're not like mad. This isn't like bad feelings. This is just, and he was all like pumped up because he's like, I fought my friend Nick, who's the strongest, and now I've won, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is barf. And so I'd kind of been like holding that a little bit too, being like, okay, I'm not going to he clearly values it. I'm trying to be respectful. And I'm also like, this is very silly. And when things are silly, I am not a very nice person. So I also make fun of them. So I kept making fun of the fighting too and like making little comments. And he was getting like kind of annoyed about it. And so the second night, I'm only bringing this up because I wanted to talk about the duality of people, because I'd been like, oh my God, my little baby son who like loved anime and only wore girls' leggings growing up is now doing an after school fight club.
Mm-hmm.
It was movie time. And I was like, you can pick we have to pick a movie. your dad will watch anything. Like, you're the most grumpy with things. So, like, you get to pick the movie as long as, like, you know, you pick something like everyone's going to want to watch. And he was like, okay. He's like, I know exactly what I want to watch. And I was like, all right, lay it on me. And he's like, I want to watch Little Women. And I was like,
What?
I was like, the Greta Gerwig Little Women? He's like, yeah, I want to watch Little Women. He was not gaslighting me. He was dead ass serious wanting to watch Little Women. So I didn't tell you this part. This is the plot twist. And so I'm sitting here and I was like, you do a fight club after school and you're telling me you want me to put on Little Women? Like Emma Watson Little Women? You like Florence Pugh Little Women?
Yeah.
And yes, he did. And I guess the thing that brought it to a head, because I was like, what is it? Like, I'm so like, I don't
Where
feel
did
like
it
you
come
have
from?
affinity
Yeah,
to
where
like
Yeah.
did
these
Explain
male
your
cops.
choice. Explain your choice.
Timothy Chalamet.
He's in Little Women?
Yeah,
he's Laurie in Little Women.
He's Laurie.
Oh,
And
I don't think
He's like, I'm making it a point to watch all of Timothy's movies. And I was like, there are facets to you I just don't even know. So here we go.
So he
he's
idolizes Timothy Chalamet?
he only is listening to Bob Dylan now.
What? So did he see The Great Unknown?
He certainly did. And now
Okay,
it's
okay.
Bob Dylan 20. Like, I'm in the car driving to the thing. I'm like, what should we put on? He's like, Bob Dylan.
this is wacky. He
I'm
does.
just
He's
saying,
like a diamond.
multifaceted. People are multifaceted. And so as
many
soon as I
facets.
start to put someone in a box and be like, look at you go, you are a bro
Jared
fight club boy.
contains multitudes.
Yeah, multitudes.
Good
and
for
don't we
him.
all? So
Good for
That's
him.
awesome. I'm sure everybody enjoyed Little Women.
I love that movie.
I love it. I love it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's really good.
I mean, I've read the book, okay? But
yes, but they meta out, like Greta Gerwig does a good job, like and it's actually really feminist, and I think it's pretty poignant too. I had a lot of discussions okay. I'll get into this, and then this actually will segue. I had a long discussion with Bronte the next day on a walk about me agree. So I'm a big Amy stan, and how they, especially Amy in this movie, like maybe in the book they kind of,
yeah.
Well, in the book they do her kind of dirty. In the movie they unpack her, I think, in a more nuanced way.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy has this whole thing of marriages and economic propositions. So, like, do you want to be like the oldest sister Meg and like marry for love, but then like you're too poor to like fucking put shoes on your feet? Or she's like, look, I gotta marry rich, and marriage is economics. And so I was having this talk with my daughter who was like asking about that. And I was like, fuck yes, marriage is about economics. And I'm not saying like you have to be like, you know, we're not talking about like gold digger, but I was like, marriage is a contract. It's about assets. And she was like, what about love? And I was like, love is love and love exists. But like, you know, and then I got to this whole thing of like the institution of marriage and then like, you know, the romanticization of marriage. But what is marriage fundamentally is like a legal, like, you know, I was like, there's like romance and there's love that exists, but marriage itself is a legal contract and blah, blah, blah. So we had this like whole big thing. And I felt like I, you know, probably I'm going to put her into therapy. At one point, she's like, do you love dad? I'm like, yes. And it doesn't, like, that's not what I'm discussing.
Oh
I'm
my God,
talking about
amazing.
the legal framework that is this institution. I am a fun parent. But anyway.
God, I love it. I love it so much.
So that being said, you know, you can have love, you can have marriage, you can have both. And tonight we're going to talk about
No marriage.
no marriage yet.
I feel like there's some contracts
coming.
There's some contracts involved.
I think it's about, yeah, I mean, there's no segue to be had here. I made that up. There is nothing I can pull out except for the fact that I was talking about love, and now we're going to be talking about Love Scout.
Yeah,
There you go.
There we go.
That was much smoother.
Perfect.
Yep,
Perfect.
that's all we need. And yes, you might be saying, didn't you just talk about Love Scout a couple weeks ago? And yes, we did. We did our first episode, Trope-tastic first episode series with Love Scout. And I'm happy to say that doing the first episode sort of deep dive got Leah on board to want to watch the whole drama. And so now we're doing a full deep dive because Megan was already watching and I, you know, watched it.
Yep.
I watched the first 7 episodes binged and then the rest live. So here we are. So if anybody is new, I'll give just a little bit of information about Love Scout. So Love Scout was one of the first dramas to drop for 2025, having aired live on Viki from January 3rd to February 14th. We did a deep dive on episode 1, like I said, for our Trope-tastic first episode series. So if you are not wanting to listen to a deep dive on the whole drama yet, and you want to hear like what kind of got us all hooked, go back and listen to our first episode deep dive. But I'm excited that we finally get to discuss the whole drama because I have been so in love with this drama since I started it and all the way through to episode 12. So this romantic comedy is a compact 12 episodes, is light on the angst, and did not, I repeat, did not go to Argan in episode 12. I feel like that's the Korean version of jumping the shark now.
It is.
Yep,
It's
going to Argan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know what going to Argan means, I'm not going to spoil for you where Argan comes from because I feel like you need to find that out for yourself, but just know it means jumping the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say again one quick time, what is jumping? Because we've defined it before, but
do you know where jumping the shark comes from?
I do, but I think
from
some
Happy
listeners
Days.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but some people may not even know what Happy Days is.
Yeah, so Happy Days.
Horrifying, but you're right.
I
You're
know.
right.
So Happy Days is
Happy
a
Days,
classic
Happy
American sitcom. Yeah, it was a 30-minute show,
Yeah,
right?
it was
so
a
that would be
30-minute sitcom.
Yeah.
from the 70s,
Yes.
early 80s. Yeah.
70s, I'd say. Yeah, I
Like
don't know
if you
for
know,
sure.
if you know, you all, if you don't know Happy Days, you at least probably know Ron Howard is like a very, very good like film director. And Ron Howard got his start actually on the Andy Griffith Show, which goes even further back. But he was Richie Cunningham in Happy Days. And I think that's
just
where.
bust out his name. Oh my God! Did you know his name?
Yeah, I couldn't have said that.
No.
Oh my God, I love Happy Days. Yeah. Richie Cunningham. And that's actually where he got his, I think, directorial debut was he started directing some episodes of Happy Days. I have listened to him on a podcast before.
And Happy Days has the Fonz. So
Happy
if
Days has-
anyone,
So we
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, Fonzie.
Character
Fonzie.
named the Fonz, Arthur Fonzarelli.
Mhm.
Okay,
Of course you
played by
know it.
Henry Winkler. Of course I know it.
Jesus, Amy.
And the Fonz was like the leather jacket, motorcycle riding, like cool dude. And Fonzie is always doing stuff to prove his coolness. And I don't remember the specifics of the episode of the jumping of the shark because he was jumping things on his bike to start.
Right.
Right.
I think he was either on some sort of skis. It was in
Yes,
the
it was
water. I mean, he was
skis.
in the
It was
water.
skis.
Yeah, but he jumped over a shark, and that's when everyone was like, "This show has gone off the rails."
Yes.
It's reached levels of absurdity, and I think that was also the signal of when Happy Days started to like decline, probably
Yeah.
in like
Because it was
popularity.
getting pretty bonkers.
It was getting absurd. So
I
when
mean, they
we
brought
say-
in, I mean, I'm not going to complain about this. They brought in Robin Williams as Mork from Ork, and that's where Mork and Mindy spun off from. So like,
I
but
didn't
we,
realize.
but like we were,
I
yeah,
love
he's
Mork and
jumping
Mindy.
sharks. We brought in aliens because Mork was an alien. So
Right.
yeah, it was
So
getting
when-
a little bonkers in the 80s.
Yeah, so when people say a show jumped the shark, it's basically when it kind of reached levels of absurdity that essentially the audience turned on it a little
Just
bit.
going off the rails.
Just going off the rails and not like in a good way. It's usually that's like when people aren't gonna watch as much anymore. So
But
jumping the shark.
but Love Scout does not jump the shark. It does not
does
go
not
to
go to
Argan.
Argan. Thank
Okay.
God.
Oh man, I'll never be over it. Okay. So the drama was written by Kim Ji-eun, co-directed by Ham Jun-ho and Kim Jae-hong, and stars Han Ji-min and Lee Jun-hyuk. As always, we'll start with a non-spoiler discussion and then let you know when it's time to hit pause if you want to finish watching the drama before we tell you how it all goes down. And because we love to dissect blurbs, here's what Asian Wiki has to say about the drama. A successful and confident woman, Han Ji-min, is the CEO of a headhunting company. To survive in the fiercely competitive headhunting field, she puts everything she has into her work. Outside of her job, she doesn't know how to do anything. She has a secretary, Lee Jun-hyuk, who takes care of pretty much everything for her. Unlike his boss, the secretary is friendly, well-mannered, and considerate of other people. He is a single father who is also good at parenting and housework. And here is the logline from Vicky. Will the professional relationship between workaholic CEO Han Ji-min and her highly capable secretary Lee Jun-hyuk turn into something else? So, first of all, What do you think works in either the blurb or the log line? And what would you change or add to either or both to better entice viewers looking for their next rom-com?
So the Asian wiki blurb is just not. It's the I no. For my taste, there's no stakes. So immediately I could hear Amy's voice in my head saying, "Where are the stakes? There's no stakes." And I get that for Love Scout, the stakes to a degree. Well, no, actually, no. The stakes stay. Even when he is her secretary, it's still going to be a
There's
workplace
stakes.
romance. So the stakes are still there, even after kind of the enemies to lovers shifts a little bit. The stakes are still there. So I would say that the logline from Vicky is decent. It's decent because at least you're getting, you know that it is a workplace romance. You know that it's going to be taboo. If you know anything about K-dramas, you know, like workplace romance is taboo. So I feel like that's decent.
It made me laugh the whole that she doesn't know how to do anything.
She doesn't know how to do anything. That's wild. I mean, to be honest,
I get that stuff's getting lost in translation.
I know,
do, but I just love to have fun with these.
And actually, something that's funny is that we'll get into this in a little bit, but one of the critiques I saw from at least one listener was that they felt like she was being infantilized by not being able to do anything. That was not a take that I felt like I had in watching it, but I felt like it came like, so for some people that may play accurately that idea, because some people watched it and were bothered. Like I saw that as a critique.
Yeah, that's not how I interpret it, but fair. Like fair that's.
I think the Vicky one would have kind of gotten to me because it was short. And look, the fact that it's a female boss and a male secretary, I'm immediately just going to be like, look, I'm the person that didn't think they liked office romance who likes office romance. And I think I would have been like, I'm curious to know more about this, like, you know, this power dynamic is a new dynamic. We usually see ad nauseum the opposite. Like the what's wrong with Secretary Kim dynamic is much more the usual. So I think just the fact that it doesn't have big stakes, but just that role reversal for the Vicky one would have gotten me enough to be like, okay.
Yeah, same.
So I did make you both watch the first episode for our Trope-tastic first episodes series. If I had not assigned it to us for a show, do you think you would have watched this drama on your own? Otherwise, why or why not?
I'm not sure. So this drama came at an interesting time because I was watching When the Stars Gossip, and I was in this like weird headspace because I will say, I'm going to go on the record and say that is not a drama that I like. And I was kind of having an enjoyable time watching it because of like elements to it and like kind of some of like other people were watching it. And so it was kind of like a thing. And then I started to get to where like, you know, when something's like fun and then it's like, oh, now the fun is gone. Like I was like, the fun is gone. Like I'm not having fun with this anymore. Yeah. I mean, I'm still having fun with the community, but I'm not having fun with this drama. Like I'm no longer just like, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Look at the fruit. Like I was like, there's no more fruit fly sex. I'm kind of out. And so Love Scout popped up at kind of like a good time for me where I was ready to pivot to something. And I mean, we'll unpack how I feel about this drama, but I do think that in watching the beginning of it, I would have, like, if I'd given it a shot and there were a lot of people telling me to watch it because of the competency porn, I think I would have been like, sure, I'm in. Like, who doesn't? I do like some competency porn.
I probably wouldn't. I don't know. It's hard because everyone on our Patreon and like all our listeners are like, you have to watch Love Scout. You have to watch Love Scout. But nothing about Love Scout. Like, I will say this. If you're selling me a drama, start with the stakes. Because that is going to get me. So explain the stakes or tell me the tropes. And I felt like I wasn't getting that. People were just like, it's really sweet. And I'm like, that's not you. That's not going to sell me really on a drama. But so many people were saying it was good, and so I decided to give it a try. I think, well, yes, you said I'm doing the Trope-tastic first episode on Love Scout, but I think I had planned on watching it anyway. I will say normally, like, this type of premise would not be something I would watch, but at the time, it was nice. I liked it because I it was the kind of drama that was slow. I wasn't anxious about it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't stressing me out.
It was a good Trump administration anecdote.
It was, because I was like, these are sweet people that good things are happening to them in the end. They're getting the love they deserve. We're healing wounds from our past, that type of stuff. And I'm like, so that was heartwarming to me. So yeah, I don't know if I don't know. I would say if no one was talking about this drama, I never would have started it. Let me put it that way. Like, whereas you guys know, I will randomly start dramas that no one's talking about if the premise looks good. So this one I had to be talked into, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I mean, because I didn't know what it was about based on the title, in which I didn't ask anything about the title, but we can talk about the title because I do think the title fits.
Yes, and it took me a long time to figure out why the title fit. It really did.
So, I mean, she scouts people for companies, and she falls in love.
Right.
But anyway, it was the same for me, you know, and I talked about it when we did our first episode that, you know, it was Sarah of Afternoona Asks, Sarah and Grace, talking about how good it is that I have to watch it. And Sarah in particular was like, you know, DMing me. And she's like, I'm telling you, Amy, you're going to love this. And I do tend to trust Sarah. But also, you know, there's certain things that you just got to say, and I'm in. She said single dad. And I was like, okay, single dad, Noona romance. I'm like,
yeah. I will admit when I think Sarah did say to me single dad, and I was like, okay, that's getting me a little bit.
See, that's an anti-pitch for me.
I thought it was.
People like single dads, and I am like, I don't want parents in my romance almost ever. Like, if somebody's like, there's a parent, I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Because then you got to deal with the kid, and then you got to worry about babysitting.
We're going to talk about the plot moppets later. I am not a plot moppet girly.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't want them to be plot moppets. Like that's the thing. I've written some single parent romances, and I will say the logistics of it is difficult.
Yeah, I've done it too, and it's
me too.
It's a bear.
Yeah,
me too.
You're constantly like, what do I do to like responsibly get the kid out of here?
Yeah,
I've written single parents on an alien planet. So what do you do with a kid when you're like on the run from bad aliens and you're all three of you are in a cave together? Like, how do I get the lead couple to like
that's on
do
you.
it?
Yeah,
because then you got this like random half alien, half human kid, and I don't know what to do with it. It's rough. It's rough.
All right. So this drama is very clearly an enemies to lovers romance. Our hero and heroine's goals are very much in opposition. For those who haven't listened to our episode 1 deep dive yet, how would you outline Kang Ji-yoon and Yoo Eun-ho's GMCs, their goals, motivation, and conflict, so that we get a sense of what the stakes are?
Yeah, what's interesting, because I would say in the beginning, Kang Ji-yoon's goals and motivation all revolve around her business and her occupation and her company, whereas I think Eun-ho's are revolving around family. So his daughter, his friends, his like personal life, and in a way, it's very much like the difference between like work to live and live to work. Like that's who these two are in a nutshell.
I'm sorry. My daughter is killing me. She's doing it on purpose. We can leave this in because it's funny. So she just sent me a random selfie of her wearing a Korean face mask.
Oh,
and like she has all like the animal headbands, so she's got like snail antenna sticking up, and sends me the Korean face mask, and I'm like, you just made me laugh while podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just sent another one of her just sitting at her laptop, just casually with like half of her masked face like poking. I don't know.
Oh, look at her with her snail thing. That's so funny. She's so cute. You can't even see her, just her little eyes.
Yeah.
Aww.
So, all right, Sydney, you're on the podcast now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good assessment of them, is that they're already in opposition because of what's important to them.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Yeah, because she doesn't like prioritize. She does not prioritize personal life, and he does. Mm-hmm. He absolutely does. because they give us the whole premise where he took a year off of work just to take care of his daughter, and to her, like, she would at least.
And look, it worked very well to me from like I mean, is it a little on the nose? Yes. And do I care? Absolutely
Sure.
not. Like, zero caring.
Yeah.
I like that she was a workaholic, and I like that he was such a family man that he even took the time off and was like punished by his like bastard boss for doing so. And this is like, sometimes I want to see a drama that is like, I feel like this drama is very centered in like, this is a female gaze written for women audience of like, this is your fantasy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, and I will take it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I'm saying, like, it, because I do like the single parent romance when it works. And I think it works well because you find out like from episode 1 that like there is built-in babysitting. So like whenever, like,
Right.
because there's so many times during the drama where I'm like, it is dark out. You're still at the office. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, it is 10:30. Where is your
where's
child?
Biol? Yeah.
Where is your kid?
Like, can you just leave her whenever and like get home whenever?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would definitely say in this drama, the male lead, Eun-ho, he's the one who's doing what is traditionally considered, women or female roles. So it's taking care of the house, emotional labor, just the emotional labor of supporting your spouse in their job, is typically, like a female gendered role traditionally.
So I think we're kind of already getting to my next question, which, we talk a lot about butter in this, which, goes back to when we talked about the book 7-Figure Fiction by T. Taylor, and butter, which is like that extra goodness on top of the common tropes. So what would you say is the extra butter that makes a very common trope like this one, enemies to lovers, even more compelling?
There's nothing better than enemies to lovers, forced proximity, taboo. So you have enemies to lovers, but then they're forced together and yet their relationship is taboo. Like, what's going to happen. It's like a perfect storm. And that's basically what this drama did.
Yeah. I mean, I can't top that. You summed it.
Yeah. I love it. And for me, single dad. With a
that too.
With a whiteboard calendar.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's your dream man right there.
It is 100%.
I want his home. His
apartment is adorable.
Is so
Absolutely
cozy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please, I wanted it so bad. Oh, his little plants. Oh.
So as far as good guys, as far as the good guys of the drama, Love Scout gives us not just the story of our hero and heroine, but that of a pretty large ensemble cast that consists of a second lead romance, a whole office of headhunters, and 2 7-year-old children. Of the secondary characters or stories, what did you enjoy most and why?
Jong-hoon play he's the character played by Kim Do-hoon. So he's kind of like the second male lead, I guess you could say. So he has like a slight crush on the female lead and then quickly is like, oh, well, she doesn't like me. I can take no for an answer, and like moves on and just
Which I thought was fantastic, right?
Yeah,
like,
and also the fact that he still supports her.
Yes.
Then as both a friend and as a coworker.
Yes.
I was like, okay, that is one way to get me to like a guy. Okay. The fact that he's just like, okay, you don't like me.
I shot my shot.
Yeah, I shot my shot and now I'm going to move on, but I'm also not going to be a dick. I love that. Anyway, his little like starter romance with the children's book author. So that was Soo-hyun, played by Kim Yoon-hae, which first of all, I really liked her. I thought she was really sweet. Their little banter and like the fact that it was kind of cool to me because I love when like you get 2 characters who form this bond, but they almost don't realize they are like the fact that there were like little moments where they were like thinking of the other person and they didn't like stop to analyze like, why am I thinking about this other person? But I thought but I mean, for as far as Jong-hoon, look, I'm always going to fall for like poor little rich boy. I'm sorry, but I am. And he was like the definition of that. And I love how he tried so hard to stand up to his terrible dad. And yeah, I loved him.
So I'm going with the flip side to that, which is Soo-hyun, the children's book author, sometimes babysitter, neighbor crush.
Babysitter.
Yeah, often. Did not like how much she was babysitting, we'll say.
So much babysitting.
Give her a little more book writing, a little less babysitting. But just to echo what you said, what worked about both these second leads are they wanted to get in the meat and potatoes of the leads, and they didn't ever like get distastefully gross when it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, she also was like, oh, he likes someone else.
And I felt bad for her, honestly, because in many ways I was like, look, on paper, this really works for you. Like, this would have been a very good arrangement. And here you are, this like warm, caring, you got the little boy bestie, like you're going to come together and you're going to be like a snap together Lego family.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And the mom's hyping you like every second. Like mom's just there like, yeah. And so the CEO doesn't quite fit that mold. And so I get like, I mean, I feel like the way they handled it, because on paper she was so perfect, was even harder to do, because really in many ways like she would have like there's a lot that worked there, so to make it not be it and her not to be unlikable was kind of hard to do, and they did a good job.
Yeah, she was totally likable, and I did think it was sweet too, because then the grandmother quickly switched allegiances and was like, Jong-hoon? Oh, sounds great. All right. Like she was like
she just wanted her to be happy. And
she just wanted her to be happy.
All the good people in this drama just want everybody to be happy. And that's what I thought was really great. And I did love that, that Jong-hoon and Soo-hyun also, they formed this bond because there was nothing at stake for them in the beginning, right? They were just like two sad sacks, with their unrequited love. And so they were immediately themselves with each other.
Yes, I loved it.
Without even knowing that was going to bring them, so close together. They got
drunk together. It was so cute.
It was so cute. So cute. Yeah, friends to lovers. Like it was really nice.
Mm-hmm. And let's just shout out our I Have No Chingu. Sohae-won.
Yeah.
She played Oh Kyung-hwa, and she was one of the oh my gosh, employees. Thank you.
People's employees.
Yeah, at People's, which we'll get to that company name in a minute. But anyway, yeah, she was one of the employees at People's and even had her own little office romance, which was so cute. But I fully believe she is a scene stealer every
she is.
time.
She's so good.
She was still a scene stealer in this drama, even though her character was like kind of one note. She gives it all.
I was worried in the beginning that she wasn't going to get as much screen time as she did, because it seemed
a lot.
It seemed like the People's team was like more in the background at the beginning. So I was very happy to see them get more screen time, for them to even give her an office romance. It was I loved the whole People's team, like
me too.
The core group. They were great.
Yeah, me too.
We've often talked about how kids in dramas are sometimes thrown in simply as plot moppets, meaning their only function is to move the romance forward for the leads. Did you think the kids, Eunho's daughter Byul and Soo-hyun's son Seo-jun, were characters in their own rights or just plot moppets?
I mean, look, they were moppets, but like, there's been worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they were not like worse. Blackie from
Blackie
from Tail the Nine-Tailed. I will never get over Blackie.
I'll never
from Tail the Nine-Tailed.
So look, but they still were. I mean, look, their point was to be adorable. That was their point. Their point was to be adorable. The thing I appreciated most about I just blanked. What's the little girl plop? Byul.
And then Sol-jun's the other one.
Yeah, so Byul's she was a very sweet little thing. I understand. Look, I write romance. I understand how the sausage gets made. I understand how her meeting her cool Ani at the like bookshop was like a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like, meh, well, whatever. Like, of course, you're going to have a friend. But of course you do it. And it works. And I understand. And like, I would do it too, probably structurally in a book. So I understand why it worked. But did it like get me in the feelings? No. I felt like in that case, I felt like it was a very like, there were times with the child, I felt like it was like, it was just too structurally obvious what the child like was doing there at all times. And I felt like I'm not like Amy where I watch shows being like, I know what's going to happen next. I'm trying to like unlock the secrets of the structure. I usually just turn my brain off and I'm like, yay. But with that kid, like there was just something when the kid would pop in, I'd be like, and now we have to be like, look, the cold CEO is warm-hearted with the little kid. Okay. But I think the thing I did really appreciate with the child, which is why I'm going to give the child a pass ultimately without any wag of the finger, is not to center a man in this fictional child's existence, but I was really touched by his character taking the time to really work on the mental health of his daughter. I think that again, I'm not trying to like paint societies with a broad brush, but I think we can all like we speak in generalizations about this country. We're going to speak in some generalizations about Korean culture too, is to have it be first, you're a man raising, like you're the man, you are a single parent and you're the man. You're going to be then emotionally intelligent enough to be like, I need to be there, like really full, like without just like monetarily supporting this child and like tucking them in at night with a kiss. Like I have to really dig in. I even have to look at my career and be like, not as important as my child. And there's a lot of repudiation of misogyny and subversive feminism in that I think was like on purpose. And in that case, when I saw the sausage getting made, I was like, and I like it. I like that sausage.
Yeah, I think very much that normally it's again like the mother, the woman of the relationship she's the one who's sacrificing her career by taking time off with the kids. Blah blah blah. Like again, I'm speaking traditionally, which was why it was really cool to see that role completely reversed. So like it's the man now. He's the one who's forced to take time out of his career, and his career suffers for it. And they actually, I mean, they show his career literally suffered for it. It wasn't like he was just, so we saw that there were consequences to this, even for him. I liked it a lot because, I just felt like I'm getting a different story being told to me. And as far as the kids, June definitely. He was just this like little boy.
Yes, he is a plot muppet for sure.
Absolutely. Like yeah. But I understand. Like I agree with Leah, but like I really liked Buell, and
she was cute.
She was cute. The actress who plays her is great. I mean, is the precocious kid completely played out? Sure, I don't care. She was still adorable. And I don't know. I kind of liked her little relationship with
Jian.
Jian, thank you. Like
I did too. I like that they met. I like that they met before they knew who the other, who each other were.
Yeah, and I liked Buell. I thought she had like things she liked. I liked that she wanted to like paint her dad's nails, and she was definitely a very smart little kid, and so yeah, I mean, I liked her. And it didn't bother me that she was maybe a little bit of a plot muppet. I was kind of okay with it. Because I still felt like there was like a little bit of a meaty role for her.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah. Look, it's this idea, like tropes work. We use the same things over and over again because they work. And like the plot muppet is a trope. And it can be very, very cliche, or it can be nuanced. And I thought it was nuanced here because Beale had her own screen time without either of them too, for a little
bit.
And I think she held her own.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Let's talk the meet cute, and I'll let one of you describe what it is. This happens in episode 1, so it's not really a spoiler, and we talked in depth about it in our, first episode, Trope-tastic first episode. But whichever one of you wants to, take away describing the meet cute, and then we could talk about, is this a good setup for enemies to lovers? So it's Director Yang. She's trying to recruit him, and he's trying to keep him from leaving.
So she's trying to recruit. Yeah. She's trying to recruit this guy, and
from the company where Eunho
works. And so Eunho's trying to say no.
Oh,
I want him to stay. So they're at direct odds. She wants to take this employee, he wants to keep them. And they kind of have a little verbal spat then about like the value of employees and how he thinks she's just this like thief, basically.
And his job is at stake. Basically, his boss is like, if you lose this person, like your ass is grass, because he's already like this boss has already got it out for him for taking the year off to be with his kid.
Yeah, and obviously for her, this is a big land for her, for a big client, and she wants to get the best employee, and her job is everything to her. And so they have a verbal spat, and then suddenly it's dark. And she is going down the steps of the temple in the dark, and her phone goes out which is pretty indicative later you find out about her because she definitely doesn't charge her phone on time.
I felt like I really related to her.
I felt like you would.
She's Leah. She's Leah, does not charge her phone, does not have a portable charger.
Her house, her life. I was like, I feel like I could be her.
Yeah. And then Eunho, of course, has a fully charged phone, probably has 3 portable batteries in his pockets, sees her, walks past her, then realizes she's like hobbling in the dark in heels, turns around and lights her path with the flashlight of his phone. But then when they get to the bottom, she's like, let's never meet again. And he's like, yeah. And they part. And that's it. And you think I personally loved it. I thought it was great. Because anytime you're going to introduce 2 characters and they're going to have some sort of verbal spat, that's great. That's great. Because it's immediate tension among their characters. And with tension often comes chemistry.
And I think I shared in our Trope-tastic first episode, I just loved just the visual of him turning the phone light on for her and then them going down the stairs. It was just a really lovely way to kind of build intimacy and trust, even though, and you could still keep them in opposition of kind of a little bit of the enemies to lover. They could stay a little bit oppositional because he was doing something decent, but it was very romantic, but he wasn't looking to be romantic in that moment. But you could also see why her heart would flutter from such things.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of foreshadowing for like how their relationship is going to end up playing out, where he's the one who's doing thoughtful things like that for her, and not in a way that makes her feel dumb. Like he didn't say anything, he didn't give her a look. He's just like, I'll light the way. Like that's it. And that's the way he does things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also like a really great setup because going into the drama that he somehow becomes her secretary, but it is not clear.
It is not
how
clear.
That's going to happen. And so what I really love is you see that these 2 people are in total opposition, and you know that somehow it's going to lead to him losing his job and him working for her. So I think it's such a great setup, knowing what's probably coming at the end of that first episode, which is when he becomes her secretary. I love that because I was like, well, how is this even going to happen? Like he has a job. That was, I think the biggest surprise to me is when the drama started. And I was like, he has a job somewhere else. I don't really know how this is going to happen. So I thought it was really, really great writing in getting to see him. We'll talk about competency porn a little bit after the Kpop Rec, but getting to see him be competent in his own life and in his own career before he ends up working for her. I thought that was a really great setup.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to do kind of a delicate dance because as much as we want to turn tropes on their head, we also we really needed to have him be seen as good at what he did. Not because he had to be as powerful as her, but you needed to see that he wasn't going to be like a freeloader on her. You really had to be like, I respect this person in their own right because he's going to be put into this office as a secretary in more of a subservient role, essentially. And so you need to be able to feel as if he's not there, he's not there gold digging and getting a free ride off this person's success. You have to really build him up so that he is, even if he's not economically and job status equal, he's equal in other ways. So that he's worthy of her, not because you need to have a man like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like we haven't done this in a while. K-pop Rec of the Week. Who's got one?
I have one, and I'm excited about it. So I'm going to rec Too Bad by G-Dragon. Mainly because it's G-Dragon. I'm sorry, anytime G-Dragon comes out with something. And this one is really catchy. I've had it in my head, for the last 2 days. And I watched one of his live performances. And Bada Lee, who is a pretty famous Korean choreographer and dancer, is on stage with him, as well as the Kwan twins. And if you're a K-pop fan, you've probably heard of the Kwan twins. They're very famous dancers. And so it just feels like he kind of has this all-stars of Korean dancing on stage with him. And they're killing it. It's such a cool live performance. Just search, we'll put it in the show notes too, but you can search G-Dragon Too Bad on YouTube, and there's the video, I think like the official music video, and then a live performance where he's got like teal hair and he's wearing like a plaid skirt. It's just so great. It's so great. I love G-Dragon. He just has so much charisma and so much stage presence. So yeah, I recommend Too Bad by G-Dragon.
Okay. So the K-pop rec has been wrecked, which means you know what that means. Time to head to Spoiler Town. Okay? Stick with us if you've already watched the drama or if you don't mind being spoiled before you do. Otherwise, it's time to fill a 12-hour hole in your life with a romance that will have you smiling for at least that long after it ends. At least I did. Okay? Here we go. Kang Ji-yoon has big boss energy when it comes to recruiting the best employees for her clients. But anywhere outside of researching and tracking down the best talent, she is as scattered as they come. She's constantly getting into the wrong car. Her office is a mess, and she's constantly losing not only her phone, but also her shoes. On the flip side, we have Eun-ho, who is organized to a fault. Everything down to color-coding daily tasks on his whiteboard calendar, to prepping and planning for team meetings, to getting his daughter out the door on time for school every day with a full belly and a cute hairdo. Kind of asked this just for you, Leah, but you already answered it, but we're going to go there anyway. Which of these two character types do you relate to more? And which of these two character types are you attracted to more?
Well, I do have a competency kink, and I really wish in life that sometimes, I'm married to a princess. I wish I could be a little bit of a princess sometimes. So yeah, I really would say that I don't know if I have like big boss energy like Jiyeon, but I have big ADHD. Everything's kind of like a mess, and I hyper focus on a lot of things, and I feel like I can work really hard and get some good things done. But then it can also be like, why do you not have food in your fridge? And why is your car on empty? And why do you not have a charged cell phone? And why blah, blah, blah. And that can be like shaming sometimes when you're like, but look at all the other good things I am doing. So,
Aw.
so yeah, I really like how she was constant. I have gotten into the wrong car multiple times. Like I have fully jumped in the wrong car probably half a dozen times in the last recent memory. I mean, I do drive a Honda Odyssey. It's not like those are like unknown, but it is not, I fully have just like, there haven't been other people in the car, but I have fully jumped in the wrong cars at the car, like the parking lot, whatever.
People leave their cars unlocked?
I mean, enough that I've done it many times, like more than twice. And then, yeah, it would be, I think the thing with Eun-ho that's nice, though, is that I tend to feel like people who are very structured and organized get annoyed by those who are not. And what you were saying, like, Megan, and like the romantic fantasy of it is like he can have the whiteboard calendar and like the 3 charged phones and whatever, but he doesn't seem super annoyed ever with her for like her stuff. He's just fine to kind of like go along. And it doesn't feel like it's because he has like no agency. It just truly doesn't seem to bother him. And I don't know what that would be like, to be like somebody's just like doesn't get annoyed by like me being me. I don't know what that would feel like. I feel like I'm a hyper annoyed. Like, I mean, my husband's not like, my husband loves me, but I would say that like all those things are not like endearing to him.
I also feel like Eun-ho's love language for giving love is acts of service. Because we get to see so much of that in this drama. Like, he organizes her office and he doesn't ask for praise for it. Like, he doesn't ask for recognition. He waters her plants. He fixes her door. Like,
it's filling his bucket, which is like the fantasy. I'm like, how is all of this? Like, I can't imagine somebody coming in and being like, man, I want to cook you dinner. It just filled my bucket to do that.
Yeah, I think first of all, the door thing is my favorite. I am obsessed with the fact that as she hit the door every time, he noticed and is like, I'll fix it. No problem. So what I liked about this is I felt like he was always, he saw the things that she wasn't necessarily good. He respected her for what she was good at. and accepted her for the things that weren't her strengths. And he's like, but those are my strengths. So like, let's just like trade. Like he just, everything about him. Yeah. There was no annoyance. There was no like, oh my God, she's terrible at keeping plants alive. He's just like, she's busy. This isn't her thing. But you know what? It's my thing. I like plants. So I'm going to help her. And everything about it was just so fucking wholesome and just so, I loved it. I just loved how he treated her. Cause he's like recognizes, he's like, I respect you for what you do. I think you're very good at what you do. I have changed my mind and I admire what you do. I now see the value in it. And I also see that like you don't take care of yourself as well, but I can help you with that. And I can be very good at organizational things sometimes, but then on the other hand, I'm like terrible at it and I'm a mess. I'm more like I definitely always keep my phone charged, but like I never get anyone's name right. Like Neil is like, stop calling people by their names because you keep getting it wrong and it's embarrassing. And it is. I called like the wrong kids' names of my kids' friends. It's ridiculous. He's like, just stop saying people's names for the love of God. But then to a degree, there are many times where he like recognizes that I'm terrible at stuff. I don't know. Maybe I weaponize incompetence sometimes. Maybe that's why I don't have to load the dishwasher ever, because I'm terrible at it. There was a time, too, I broke 3 washing machines, and then he finally told me I'm not allowed to do that either. I do it now, but that was at our old house. So maybe I do. I swear I try. You
don't have to swear here. Safe space. I could care less if you do.
No, I really do try. I think there are just certain things that he likes how things are done. So he's just like, I'll do it myself. He's not like, well, let me sit you down and treat you like a child. He's just like, then I'll do it. And it's okay. I'll do it, which is nice.
Something done right.
Yeah. Want something done right, do it yourself. So he probably has more, he's got a little bit of Eunho in him, not pure Eunho, because no one is Eunho.
Nobody never gets annoyed and it's like, my life is fulfilled watching your
He
plant.
absolutely gets annoyed sometimes at how I'm like incapable of like calling people by the right names or how I can never do my taxes right. I mean, trust me, it's not endearing at all. But and I would say I would say I'm attracted to people who are organized, and that's because I'm not.
I think that people will probably think that I am like Eunho in my day-to-day life, and I'm not. Like, I wish I could be. Like, I thrive on organization, but I'm stretched way too thin to be that organized. Like, I have a whiteboard calendar in my kitchen that's empty because I keep saying I'm going to put stuff on it, and I never do. I mean, I have a Google Calendar that has everything in it. Like, everything always goes, but I can do that wherever I am, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to see it. I would like to see, like, the month at a glance, like, in the kitchen when I'm in there.
Yep.
My room is a mess right now. Like, laundry will sit in the basket for a week before, and I'll live out of the clean laundry basket, like, just like my kids do.
I've lived out of laundry baskets for, like, 20 years.
But do I feel the most at peace when my house is clean,
right,
and everything's in its place? Absolutely. I just can't prioritize that right now.
Right. That's why you need an Eunho.
Which is why Eunho to me is literally the most attractive K-drama character in contemporary K-drama land, because I'm not putting fantasy and stuff in there because mages are totally different. So are goblins. But like, as far as like contemporary romance in K-drama, he is one of the most attractive men I've ever seen. And I make all the jokes about it, about like dating profiles and stuff. But like, honestly, I don't think it's a low bar that I have set. And I think that's probably why I'm still single. I'm also not looking. But if there's an Eunho out there, I'll find him and I will make him mine.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, but there is a lot to be attracted to with Kang Ji-yoon too. Like, I don't want to sell her short because I don't have big boss energy, and I wish that I did. Like, I think that she's amazing. Like the fact, like maybe her office is a shambles, but like when she's in that white pantsuit, walking through the garage,
the power pantsuit,
God,
and when
God love her.
got essentially screwed over by like her ex coworker. And she's just like, you know what? I'm going to go confront her, and just marches her ass in that office. I am like, damn, girl.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely
Yeah, she's
love
hot.
that. This is the thing about her, is that there were many aspects. Eun-ho, I kind of coveted in like a romantic way, whereas Ji-yeon, a lot of her things, I coveted them because I want, like, for myself. Like, I
Right,
wish
exactly.
I wish I had those attributes. I love the big boss energy she had. And she was competent in her way, just like Eun-ho's competent.
Absolutely. So office romances are tricky because if they don't work out, things can get pretty awkward if you still have to see your ex every day at work. And things can get even trickier when there is a power dynamic at play, which is why many companies frown upon office relationships between a manager and a subordinate. So what are your thoughts on Eun-ho being Kang Ji-yoon's secretary, especially with him having an HR background? You know what? I'm not going to pretend to know how HR works in other countries.
I know, right?
Okay, like I know what my like HR policies are, but I don't know what yours are. But do you think the power dynamic is dealt with well amidst the romance in this drama?
I do, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's having her in a position of power, and she's not abusive with it, means that to me there's not really a big problematic issue at hand, because she's not like the only thing that would have given me the ick, and it would have been a very different drama, was like if there was some sort of transactional thing. Or, I mean, and look, we've seen even things where there's been transactional and it still doesn't give the ick. Like The Proposal's a famous rom-com where it's like, I also need you to marry me for like reason, you know.
It's gross, but for some reason.
But it works because of certain dynamics. But I would say that, like, just because patriarchy exists and we live in a society where, you know, women just inherently, like, men just have more power, that even in fictional spaces, honestly, like this, I just think that you're generally going to get a pass for me always in this, because it's just going to be really hard for that to feel as icky, because you don't have the same power. And I have these conversations sometimes, like my husband's given up, thank God, because like, honestly, there are times, like, you know, when they just open their mouths and you're just like, I want to like you, and I'm going to need this not to be something you say. But when I first started getting into BTS, and my husband kind of had, like, you know, I think like a little bit of jealousy happening for him. And he would be like, well, how would you feel if I hung up like girl posters in, you know, somewhere? And I was like, you know what, first, you didn't dunk me, and let's have that conversation. Like, let's actually unpack what you're trying to say here. Mm-hmm. And so, first of all, are you saying that like you want to hang up posters in the garage of like
Baywatch?
Yeah, like Baywatch. And that's like, and there's a very specific intention to what that is. Like my uncle's having like, you know, naked ladies in the garage hanging up. Like, are you trying to advocate for that? And that's like an equal thing for you? And he's like, no, it's not that. And I'm like, so are you trying to say that, like, you know, there's like a hypersexualization that you feel like I'm doing and you want to be allowed to do similar? Or are you just saying like you just really appreciate someone? Like, are you just like, I love Kate Bush and I want to hang up a Kate Bush post? Like, I was like, we can like just keep going with like whatever this is, but
or
like,
just say you're jealous.
Let's just get to what the intent is here. And the argument that I just like frequently said is like, yeah, it's going to be very hard for you. I mean, I'm not saying that women can never be problematic about men. Of course they can. But even when women are being problematic about men in general hold the trumper card in society. And that's always going to be a case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said it better than I can.
Beautifully. Yeah. I'm just going to say that it never felt problematic to me.
Mm-mm.
I thought that there was a mutual respect. And like, you know, even when the romance started happening, you know, while they were working together, and yeah, I thought it was done very tastefully. Our second lead couple in this drama consists of two people suffering from unrequited love. Woo Jung-hoon, played by Kim Do-hoon, who is in love with Kang Ji-yoon and whose father is People's key investor, and Jung Soo-hyun, played by Kim Yoon-hae, who is in love with Eun-ho and who is Seo-jun's mom and often Byul's babysitter. We kind of already talked about them as them kind of being our favorite secondary characters. Anything else you want to toss out about these two?
I thought the little twist that she didn't actually birth Sojun was interesting, but then I do think it just kind of like gave her, I think it gave her more depth, so I liked it about her character. And I also thought obviously it gave her something in common with Jong-hoon, which helped lead to the romance.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. All of the people who died off camera.
Yeah, a lot of deaths. A lot of deaths.
Surprisingly a high level of death for a gentle drama.
Yeah, like a happy, like for the most part, it was a sweet drama.
It's wild. It's wild. Yeah. And then of course we need some baddies, and we get that in the form of Career Way and the company's CEO Kim Hae-jin, played by Park Bo-kyung. We also have Woo Chul-young, Jung-hoon's father, and seemingly the lead investor for both headhunting companies. Like, dude must find headhunting very lucrative to invest in two companies and like have them pitted against each other. Were these villains worthy adversaries for our leads?
But can I just say something about headhunting in the first place? I actually asked my husband because I was just curious. Like like I've gotten text messages and phone calls that are meant for him, and they're headhunters saying we're looking for Neil, blah blah. So I know he's been contacted by headhunters before, which first of all, I really hate the term headhunter. I will say this too. Like, can we just call them like job recruiters? Like, why did it call them headhunters? But I did ask him, I was like, do headhunters like actually research you and know your personality and things about you before they contact you? And he goes, no, they just see my profile on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, that answers my question. I was just curious. And maybe, yeah, let me know if it's different in like, say the like science sector, maybe that Nick has, but for Neil in the tech sector, he's like, no, they do not know like intimate details about me when they contact me for a job.
So I want to just, how sometimes I like surprise people. So I was a headhunter.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
Of course you were. I mean,
I didn't even think about it till like you just mentioned it. And I was like,
Jesus,
oh.
Leah.
So my dad owned a recruitment company for a time.
So he was Kang Ji-eun.
Yes.
He was.
It was not such a cool office. But
it wasn't called Peoples with a Z?
No, it was called Kendall Klein.
Okay.
And
nice.
So when I would go back and forth between being with Nick, my husband, in Australia, and then like he would go to Antarctica, my visa would like I couldn't stay without him, so I would have to come back to the US. I would work as a headhunter for my dad. And their focus was the garbage industry. So I can't speak to a lot. And this was pre-LinkedIn. So there was a little digging. Like it wasn't like I knew like what kind of ice cream flavors they liked.
Right.
But I feel as if there was, I would do kind of like the client. I mean, I was a baby too. Like I was like 22. Being like, hello, Mr. Garbage Executive. I'd like to talk to you about this lovely opportunity and working in Houston.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was like a little bit of I had to be able to schmooze on the phone enough to know what the job was, and then also like why were they a good fit, and then the whole thing was like you're trying to make, because you get paid when you make the fit, so it has to be a good enough fit.
Right.
So like
You
why
get
is
commission.
the candidate? Yeah, why is the candidate you're advancing a good fit? And so there'd be like like chats with the person and kind of like what are your interests? Are you interested in relocation? Are you interested in this kind of opportunity? Like there was kind of like those kind of questions.
Right. That's fair. And that makes sense. I just was like,
I wasn't like, what kind of puppy do you have? And I'm not going to like stalk you around. They were like rando men on the phone that I talked to.
Yeah. Like Kang Ji-eun was like putting everything into it. But, Peoples with a Z is a terrible name. Career Way was a great name for a headhunting business. Peoples with a Z was stupid.
People with a Z was bad.
I hated it. That's side of the point. Well, then I just kept sending Amy and Leah billboards that Sheetz has put up, because the whole deal with Sheetz, which is like the gas station
food,
convenience store that's near me, it's Sheetz, SHEETZ, and everything they sell has like a Z at the end. So I sent them a billboard that had a picture of fries, and again, their fries is with a Z, and it's like, your mom likes my fries or something like that. I think I sent that to you guys, but it's everything with a Z, so that's what people's would like fit perfectly into sheets. But anyway, as far as the villains, so I mean, they were very. I really disliked Jong-hoon's father just overall as a character, because I sort of didn't like get his motivation ever. He just seemed to like being an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't understand him.
He was very one note. Very
and I also couldn't figure out what he actually wanted. Like, I'm like, okay, so why don't, like, that whole showdown in like the ballroom event or whatever, I still don't really understand why he threw attitude. Like, I don't understand. Okay.
I think he wanted Kang Ji-yoon to recommend somebody for a job that like somehow I didn't get the whole thing. It was somehow went against her integrity, and she's like, I'm not, like, it was a favor for him.
But it was like
that
it
was
was never
it was dumb.
explained. It was very clunky, and so it just made his character look dumb. And then as far as Hae Jin, so the CEO of Careerway, I mean, at least her motivations made sense. Like, she knew that Kang Ji-yoon knew kind of something about her. I think she knew that Kang Ji-yoon knew she was probably behind the previous CEO's death. So I think she wanted to constantly bring down Kang Ji-yoon to like keep her secret hidden. But I still felt like she went out of her way.
Like, she had her own company.
Yeah, like she wasn't bothering you, girl. He was doing her own thing. Why are you getting involved again? Like, you brought yourself down because you couldn't mind your own business. Mind your own business, people. That's what I think about her.
Yeah, it was dumb.
This was all brought on by her. So I feel like most of that was very like just to create ways for Eun-ho to be there for her, I think. And just create some external conflict that was not necessarily the best executed I've ever seen.
No. Okay, so for drama that feels relatively low on angst, there is a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Kang Ji-yoon has been angrily grieving the death of her father for years after he ran back into a burning building to save a trapped child and ended up getting trapped and dying himself. Soo-hyun's sister and brother-in-law were killed when Seo-jun was a baby, which is how she came to raise him as her own. And Jong-hoon had a brother who couldn't take the pressure of being a chaebol son and sadly took his own life, leaving Jong-hoon to deal with a father who has always seen him as less than who's always seen him as less than and places expectations on him that he'll never be able to live up to. Add to that Biol, who has to go into therapy for a year to learn how to properly grieve the loss of her mother, who abandoned her. More on that in a minute. How did this drama pack so much sad into what ends up being a fairly light drama, like all things considered? And did you think that any of the aforementioned tragic losses were unnecessary to fulfill the needs of the plot?
I mean, I would say that the second leads didn't need they didn't need the shared sibling death to bond over. That was like, that could have been.
There was zero need. And I mean, the burning building trauma, I was like, no, please, God, don't let us have burning. Like, why is everybody getting burned alive in drama?
Everyone's burned alive. I know. God, it happened in a virtuous. I felt like I was having deja vu from a virtuous business, by the way, because that happened to the hero. He was just like left in a burning building as a baby and then rescued by a mystery person, and they didn't know who it was. That was like his thing. He's trying to track it down. So I felt like I was having deja vu. But yeah, I would say for the second leads, we didn't need that. Like, I understand that was for them to bond over, but they were already bonding over the
being in love with people who loved each other instead of
the
that.
unrequited love. And so I feel like that relationship could have stayed light. That could have stayed fun and happy and silly and let them get drunk together. Those are what I would consider unnecessary. The conflict with the main leads ended up being a core conflict to a degree, So I was okay with that one, but I mean, I guess that's what I would say. Am I missing another death?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I agree. I think
Okay.
we needed zero death, honestly. I don't think there was a death needed.
Okay. Yeah. Keep the dad alive.
The dad dying didn't add, like, his pathos in his dad's death. Like, just the first time you see him stand, like, freezing up or having his nightmares with, like, the burn, I was just like, what? I didn't need it.
Oh, the freezing up when he just like sees a fire truck. I was like,
Yeah.
really? Does he
The
freeze
rain,
up
I
every
can't-
time?
I had a panic attack
in
in
the
rain.
Panic attack in Korea, where it rains kind of a lot.
Oh my God.
Ugh.
That's business proposal, everybody, if you're
Yeah.
wondering. Okay. Okay, so here's my quibble. Okay, since we just mentioned Bjorn's mom. We get a small blip of a backstory on Eunho's ex-wife / Bjorn's mother. First, we get mentioned that she and Eunho were like the couple in college. Then we get a super short scene where we see Bjorn's mom telling Eunho that seeing him holding their crying baby is suffocating her and she wants a divorce. Then she's never heard from again. First of all, to me, this scene hinted at her having postpartum depression, which I think is totally valid. I also know that divorce often favors the father in South Korea and that women have a hard time retaining parental rights. But I personally feel like it goes against Eunho's character to not try and keep Bjorn's mom in their lives. He took a year off from work to get Bjorn the mental help that she needed, and I feel like it would have strengthened his character to have him try and do the same for Bjorn's mom. Like, do some moms abandon their kids without leaving a trace? Absolutely. But for some reason, this situation just kind of frustrated me. Am I the only one, or do you have similar feelings?
Well, I mean, the parental abandonment in K-dramas obviously is sky high.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it. I feel like there were other ways. There were other ways to. If they didn't want any mom in her life, they could have maybe done it a different way. It was kind of weird to just be like, you holding that baby is suffocating me, and then you never hear from this woman again. It's like, what happened to her? Is she okay? Like,
right.
It didn't bother
I'm
me
worried about her.
Yeah, it didn't. I remember when it happened in the drama, I was like, what? Like, I remember it gave me like a really, and then I sort of forgot about it because I was wrapped up in the rest of the drama. But looking back, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily love it. I mean, as a writer, though, I know how hard it is sometimes to like get rid of characters that you don't want because they're just like in the way. I mean, maybe they could have had her get hit by a white truck of doom instead. I don't know.
Just bring out.
Just kill another.
I was
kill
kind of
another
hoping
one.
he was going to be a widower rather than divorced.
I thought he was. That was where I thought
Yeah.
it was going, and I feel like.
And then to me, that would have been a worthy death. Like
Well,
to have.
I feel like, were they just too afraid to like cause to like, because if they had to show the marriage breaking up, you'd probably have to see him in some sort of unpleasant light, because unless this woman was just like, and then because if she, why fall in love with, like, he wasn't going to just fall in love with somebody who was just monstrous. So you'd have to imagine that there was some sort of like breakdown, and then you have to see him in a light that's going to be less attractive to some degree, unless you just want to paint the ex as just a demon, which would be unlikable because they clearly were going for like nuance with their people. Like they didn't want to just have somebody be a baddie. So I feel like they kind of just tried to have it by being like, well, we're just not really going to get into it.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna have this one little scene and
didn't want to be a mom and like,
Yeah.
Right. I guess my like the reason why it keeps like niggling at me is because I think that other than that, like the role of women is treated pretty well in this drama. And so I feel like that was a slight, you know?
Yeah,
I totally agree.
But I think they did it because they didn't know how to frame him in a in a good light. And I guess
that's what I'm saying. Make him a widower, kill her.
But why couldn't the mom just be around?
Else?
Were they just like, the mom can't be around at all because then like the daughter can't be with it? I was like, why can't the mom just be like, I moved over? I mean, honestly, what would have been kind of interesting is if the mom was just like, look, I've got to pursue like my career, my field or whatever.
She
and
got
I'm
recruited
moving.
to a job in China.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
moved over. Well, she lives
Like
further.
Director
She's
Yang.
in London. Like she's
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, okay, we understand that like it didn't work for whatever reason. He stayed behind. He has custody of the kid. And that makes sense. And
Yeah, and Bjork could have still had separation issues. She could have still had sadness, whatever. It still would have led into the plot fine.
yeah, I just think I would have preferred if we had to unpack a little trauma and use some screen time, I'd rather have unpacked a dynamic of a non-toxic marriage that didn't work out, dealing with like that, than the fire trauma and some other, like, if you had to make some adjustments in the screen time, I would have preferred to have like had that than the dying of things.
Yeah, and then Eunho has a type, like career-driven women.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, like he also learned what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I agree.
No.
It was just kind of like,
I was just kind of, yeah, it just bothered me.
Fair.
Okay, so Leah, you mentioned that while you were watching that the romance finally comes to fruition in episode 8 when Kang Ji-yoon and Yoo Eun-ho admit their feelings for each other and have that great first kiss in the street. And your thought was, what's left to watch? They got together. Did you still have that feeling as you went through episodes 9 and 10, where I think we get some super cute fun and games, especially Eun-ho looking longingly at June from his desk into her office? And then we have like a little bit of conflict in 11 and then 12.
I think it was cute. I do think I just didn't care as much. Like, I feel like the air went out of the bag for me in this. And this is a debate that I often have with my agent, which is they'll be like, bring the sex up early. And to me, I like edging and I want payoff later.
Same.
And I know some people want to get in.
Yes.
And there's times where, of course, it'll work in the plot. Like, you're going to hook them up right away. But for the most part, I don't want to get into it really quickly because I lose interest as a reader. I'm like, wine and dine me and make me like work for it. And then I like it. And so I do understand that like when they got to 8, like why pacing wise, it happened the way it did. And it's only 12 episodes and like structurally it worked fine. But for my just emotional enjoyment of watching it, I felt like at the end of 8, I was kind of like, I feel good now. I'm like, okay, they hooked up. Like, I don't need to watch the last 4 episodes. I did. And I didn't like hate watch them. But I was also like, I felt like I was done. Like, I felt like I had the emotional satisfaction that I got, and I didn't grow. Like, I got it, and then I just watched the last 4 to be like, okay, I'll watch the last 4. And it was cute, and I like had little feelings and stuff. But at that point, the payoff to me was done, and I was just kind of like, if I had stopped there, I wouldn't have been sad.
Yeah, I kind of feel similar in a way. I was still into it because I still wanted to see like what else was going on. I was still rooting for the characters. I wanted to see how certain things were resolved. But yeah, like I'm the same with Leah.
The romantic
like,
tension was over.
Yeah, like edge me.
Yeah. Okay, Megan, I mentioned to you that the moment Eun-ho had his little paralysis with the fire truck going by or whatever, that I messaged Sarah from Afternoona Asks and was like, oh man, is that going to be their conflict, that Eun-ho is the little boy that her dad saved? And yes, it was.
Yep.
But you had that same feeling, but I liked your assessment of it, of why that kind of worked. Bringing like June and Eun-ho together as a couple was necessary for Kang Ji-yoon's healing. Like, expand on how we talked about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as soon as they showed him where he like had a flashback of a fire, I was like, oh, geez. Now I mean, I think everyone knew.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I actually looked back through our messages because I was trying to remember. And I had just been recently, as a writer for my own stuff, I had been studying some like character charts. So that's also what prompted me to kind of have these thoughts. So, because they really dig into the fact that she resents her father. And that is something that is, if you're reading like writing craft books, this probably sounds familiar, but it was holding her back from being like her best self, was that resentment. So the fact that she had to confront that resentment and force that sort of like forgiveness and reconciliation essentially with like her dead father, that was like the only way Kang Ji-yoon could ever grow and be her best self. Was to finalize that resentment, was to get rid of the resentment have a resolution of like the conflict she felt with her father. And so I like at first I didn't like the idea that he was, because I was like, oh, this feels like such a surface conflict. But then when they really dug into it and you see her let go of that resentment, I remember I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders just watching it. So I personally liked how that storyline played out with what they presented me and how they finished.
And just to clarify, just in case anybody listening has not watched the drama, she
Oh.
resents her father for going back into the building to save someone else, which I'll never understand this in K-dramas. Like, there are trained emergency personnel on
Don't
the
go
scene.
back in the building, dumbass. Like the fire people were coming up.
Yeah.
Firefighters. I know.
So I would have been mad too, Kang Ji.
I know.
Okay. So everything kind of comes to a head in episode 11 where Kang Ji-yoon loses Peoples to Career Way. Like, she steps down as CEO because that's the only way she can save, the jobs for all of her people. And she does so with grace, and I thought it was amazing. And then we get to the final episode where there's like zero drama and conflict. It's just happiness. Kang Ji-yoon and Eun-ho have a ton of just romantic fun and games before she decides to reignite her dream and start a headhunting company again from scratch, this time with no investors at all. Her first order of business is firing Eun-ho as her secretary and recruiting him for a position as an HR manager at a prestigious company. We see Jung-hoon and Soo-hyun officially get together, and we even see Jung-hoon stand up to his father and then have an emotional reconciliation with the man who was initially painted as a villain. We see the main crew from Peoples resign and decide to work because Career Way takes it over. So they all resign and decide to work for Ji-yoon's new company, even though she starts out with only one client. And then we even see Mie and her husband decide that they want to try and have a baby. It's just fun and games and love and happiness for everybody. Did this episode, I loved it. And I think part of it, and I mentioned this, I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod or not, this is what I wanted for the end of When the Phone Rings.
Same.
I wanted fun and games for a couple who
Yeah.
never got it.
Yes.
I will say, Kang Ji-yoon and Eun-ho did get fun and games, but now they get to have fun and games and be solidified in their careers and in their families and all this stuff. I don't know. I loved it. Even though it was just fluffy fun, I loved it. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, at first I was like, no, don't let go of people. But then I realized how much that that was like a growth for her, because the fact that she hadn't valued her employees at the beginning, really, on a personal level, and then she realized how valuable her employees were to her, how important they were, how their job security matters. And so the fact that she put her employees first was obviously a huge growth for her. And so in the end, I liked that decision. And then, yeah, I liked the last episode. I mean, I have to be honest. Yes, I love a good tension. And sometimes when it's just one episode of happiness, I'm like, okay. But I still want it for the characters, if that makes sense. So in the end, I was happy. I will say I did find it a little weird that she was like, I'm recruiting my boyfriend. She was like, this is my first real gig at my new company. And
She did claim that she looked around and there was nobody better than
right.
Eun-ho.
But I was like, did you tell anyone that this is your boyfriend? Because I feel like that's a conflict of interest. I don't know. I did think that was a little strange. But that's okay. That's okay because
this is
K-drama
fiction.
land.
It's fiction.
Yeah, it's K-drama land. And I love that Eun-ho then got a cool, prestigious HR job. Good for him.
And they got to have that little exchange when she was recruiting for them.
She's like, oh, this is such a hard client. It's so cute.
He leaves her a little love note in the folder.
Yeah, it was very cute. It was very cute, very happy.
Yeah, it was fine. I really, I didn't hate it. I was just kind of at that point, like I said, I was emotionally, I was fine. I was done. I was satisfied. I was okay. And yes, is it there's some slight problem, placing your boyfriend or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, look, this is, again, I guess I felt like I would probably have written it that way. And so I'm not going to like wag a finger over being like, I understand structurally why they got to that point and why they made the choices they did. So I'm like, yeah, fine. Is it like my favorite thing of all time? No.
Right.
Did I like it? Yes. I would say I put this as, I like Touch Your Heart more, but I would put it at Touch Your Heart level to me, but I like Touch Your Heart more.
Yeah, I like Touch Your Heart more, but that's because you don't look and like no one's gonna.
But I mean, I felt like that's where it hit for me, where I was like, this was like, it was pleasant. Touch Your Heart was more compelling to me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this isn't like a top 5. Like this is not something I'm gonna like dream about at night. I do really like the 2 lead characters though, and like their archetypes very much.
Yeah, I remember I said to Amy, this drama was slow, and I don't necessarily mean. I just mean there were like lots of longing looks with no dialogue. And I remember I messaged Amy about this. There was one point, and I know a lot of people cite this as like a really sweet moment, but it kind of drove me crazy, where she fell asleep in his car, and then we get literally a 3-minute montage of him driving. I was like, I fast forwarded. I'm like, this is 3 minutes of him driving around to a soundtrack. Like,
So
get on with it, for fuck's sake.
But
I know.
do you know what I'm going to give this? Yes, I agree. And here's the thing I will say to be just like contrary to myself, because I'm like, I liked it. I definitely liked it.
Yeah.
It did not have a serial killer to be found.
No, thank God.
Nowhere.
And she could have had a stalking serial killer. Like, I mean, the fact they did not, honestly, I'm going to bump it up another, like, whole bunch of points for being like, thank you.
It is like one of the first dramas to drop of 2025 and no serial killer.
And and they could have easily done it just to be like, fuck, I don't know, less driving around and more serial killer.
True. They let I would say like they let the drama breathe. They let the characters breathe. Like there was time for them to just sit and stare at each other through the window of her office. Like they gave that drama time. They like cuddled on her balcony and
what I would have liked
in her apartment.
I think what I would have liked is like, if for the people who've seen Our Blues, the vignettes, so it's structured again differently because Our Blues are like vignettes. So you get to like the meat of the story a lot quicker and they're shorter. But I felt like they shied away. And I mean, again, this is like a lighthearted drama, but like you said, there's so much death in the background. It's not that light. It was just like they kind of glossed over it. I wish that they'd kind of dug in a little bit more on some of that emotional pain and stuff, especially around like his marriage and the mom. Like, I feel like we could have, like, I feel like that would have taken it from good to great, as if there had been enough. And I understand if they were like, look, we just wanted to make this light. That's fine. And the death in this is light. But if they had dug into like some of the, like not had her die, but gone into like a little bit more of like the resonance of some of that. Do you know it's a drama that was kind of slow and quiet? And again, it has some like moments of like stakes more than this does. But I'm just talking about from the emotional resonance part is Into the Ring. I feel like Into the Ring, like their emotional resonance, like it never really, like that tension continued in a good way, even though like it was like fairly, but like nothing crazy was happening. Like they weren't running from like death and people weren't coming, but like there was a tension that kind of stayed within that couple. And that's the one with this, where I feel like we just lost that tension just a little bit. And then I was like, great, you're domestic and you love being together. And I'm happy, like truly happy for you. Have 20 million episodes together. But like, I feel like I've seen what I need to see. Thumbs up to you both. Good job. I love
it's like they sort of say like, readers don't always know what they want. They think they just want like a happy, quick, but no, they want the tension.
You want to
like
work for it.
Yeah,
I wanted to cry a little. At some point, I wanted to have something because he was very good at doing like emotions with his face.
Yeah,
and I feel like if we could have just plumbed, I wish he suffered more and then earned it more. But I wish that there was a little bit more of him suffering in addition to being perfect. Mm-hmm. And maybe even a little bit of, is he being so perfect to compensate for the fact that he has some sort of like internal, like.
And he really didn't.
Something. He was just perfect to be perfect.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
wish there was.
That's definitely why I feel like this was like such a fantasy drama. Cause like he didn't have like a massive growth himself, really.
He had no trauma.
Yeah,
I mean, like
for everything that happened, he's like, my dad burned alive. I mean, it was sad, but I'm fine.
Well, no, he was saved.
He was saved.
Yeah, but I mean, like his dad was not.
Wait, his dad? You mean her dad?
Her dad.
Her dad. I don't think he lost anybody. I think he was just saying.
You're right. I
We
got
think-
confused. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
We
I
know
was like,
nothing
no.
of Eunho's family. We know
Yeah.
nothing.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't give he didn't have near the amount of depth.
Yeah, and like
as
where was
her.
like his family to be like, or the pressure that because the things that were so interesting about him, like the fact he was pretty much fired from his job for being a good dad,
Yeah.
and then could that have trickled into like a family unit where you don't have a toxic family, but maybe there was like some tension there too of like, are you you know what I mean? Like, I just think that there could have been more meat to those potatoes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the drama was basically like, no, he's going to be a perfect man, and we're pairing him with this woman. The woman's going to have all the growth and the character development, and we're
And
just
I
going
don't
to
need to
keep
be a
him up
dick
on a
about it.
pedestal.
And it's fine. And I guess, I write like that often. And so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, because like people are going to be like, it's not like you've got books that they're having just like the untapped depths of their souls plunged. I'm like, okay, I get it.
What
in a
this
way-
makes me think of, I would say in a weird way, it makes me think of Marry My Husband. Because like Nalu's character
Same. Yeah.
was there. He was there for her. He was there for her to achieve her growth.
Into the Ring was the same. He was basically just there to support her in a very similar way, actually.
And sometimes I'm just okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay. Like, we didn't even really have a big discussion topic on it because who gives a shit?
Right, because it didn't even cross my mind until now to be like, he has zero backstory except that he was saved from a fire.
Yeah,
and got divorced.
And he got divorced, and he's a single father. And he's very organized and loves his plants. Like that's what we got for him. And
look, was part of the fun and games that at the end that he vacuumed her apartment, and I loved it. Yes.
Oh yeah, she's like working and he's vacuuming. I mean, it's crazy. It's like I like that's what I'm saying. Like, who wrote this? Like, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, they knew what they were doing.
Anyway, that was a long deep dive, everybody.
Sorry.
I'm not sorry. I enjoyed the drama and I enjoyed getting to talk about it twice now. And it's time to move on.
I just feel like our podcasts keep getting longer. And
well, remember we used to do 2-episode deep dives, so we at least have graduated from that. In the beginning, we just kept going. We would do like 2 90-minute deep dives.
Oh my God,
in one episode.
I need to go back and listen to
Goblin Part 1, Goblin Part 2.
And I think we did Healer Part 1 and Part 2, right?
And Crash Landing on You Part 1 and
Oh,
Part
we
2.
did. I got to go back and listen to that. I bet we're so like stiff. I don't know.
I read everything. I had to like be like, and that like I literally would point out every word I said.
I did too. We
wrote full answers. We wrote full answers.
I think. I mean, you weren't. I mean, trust me, I was the same. I'm sure I was super. We didn't loosen up until Tail the Nine-Tailed. Tail the Nine-Tailed broke everything.
Yeah, we always talk about it, but it's
thank God for Tail the Nine-Tailed, or this wouldn't.
And how did we do like 2-part deep dive? I mean,
I don't know.
Like, fuck you, I like that, and you should do it. It was better, but like. Being like, and next week, hear us talk more about
this drama again. We would literally pause in the middle of the drama.
Yeah, and be like, okay, more next week. Stay tuned. Like, what?
I
know.
know.
You're on the edge of your seats. What happens in episodes 8 through 16?
And we didn't even do a non-spoiler section, so it's just like, God. It was like 2.5 hours.
Anyone who listened to us, like, thank you. I wonder who spent,
God.
Is there anybody that was there from the beginning? Like, this is what I want to know. If you found us from, I mean, I don't think anyone found us from episode 1. If you did, you need to contact us. Afternoona Delight Podcast at gmail.com. Tell us you found us in episode 1. But if you found us in like the Crash Landing to Goblin to Healer, which is still very, like, was the first month, and you're still here, let us know. I'm so curious.
Why? Why?
And what if it's like somebody
please let us know that you recognize we got better.
Here's the thing too, is that, or somebody's gonna be like, you didn't.
You got worse.
But also, like, I sometimes, because we have a Patreon and we have an Instagram, and so we interact with listeners, and sometimes I like also will make the mistaken assumption of like those are our list, like that's it, like that those are the listeners, like that's it, like that's everybody.
Oh, right.
And so I'm just like, what if there's people that are like, no, I've been listening this whole time, and you don't even know who I am.
Right.
That would blow my mind, honestly, a little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm sure.
I'm sure, but it just feels weird.
It does.
In an exciting way. Who are you?
Yeah, same. Just like I'm sure there are people who read our books and like love our books, but like have never reached out at all. Because
there are some feel real.
There are there are so many authors who I love, and I've never
reached out to a single author.
Not once.
I've reached out to a few because
No,
I'm weird. I've sent fangirl emails to a few.
No, I never do. Ever.
Yeah.
I would be too shy. I mean, I couldn't even go up to the authors I liked at book signings,
Same.
and I was a
Same.
author at a book signing.
Same.
True. It is hard.
Starstruck
I
every
get
time.
it. I know.
I'm just not good at being like, hello, my entry level, like my introduction is to say I really like you. And we're also positing that they really like us. Maybe they've hate listened to us for 4 years. Every week.
That's true.
Maybe every week they put themselves through hell and listen to our grating voices.
I wish you badly. But let us know. I am fascinated who you are.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
listening.
being here for 4+ years.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah,
This was really long.
Or
But we're not done yet.
We're not done.
Or because now I'm just feeling like I'm like on a personality quiz tangent.
Yeah.
If you also are like, look, I didn't start listening to you then. I'm also just for market research, but not really. That makes it sound smart. I'm not going to do shit with it. I'm just curious. If you're so inclined, let us know when you did onboard, because when did you come in?
I want to know like what brought you to us. So was it like a drama and like, was it a drama?
What was your first episode? What was your first episode?
That's a great one.
And if you came in late, like if you came in later in the game, like after our first year or whatever, did you go back and listen to our earlier shit and be like, what,
man,
what is this?
That was rough at the beginning, ladies.
Oh my God.
And what did you think of the part when Captain Reed...
I think we should do a video. Like, I think we should do a listen reaction video.
Okay.
To us listening.
Oh God,
that's going to be the
so cringiest
thing ever.
I want to do the very first episode, a reaction watch.
No. The meet your unease.
Yeah, meet your unease.
I think that would be very fun for other people to listen.
Yeah. Like I like to make myself uncomfortable. Well, I don't, but I do. In certain in this situation, I would welcome it. On that level, on that note, okay,
yeah. Okay.
All right, we are going to end this now. I'm calling it time of death, 9:47 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!